Hello everybody and welcome to my first trial run of making an AMV with the community. So those who have been longtime parts of this channel may remember that I have long been an AMV creator and in fact only started getting into the streaming business recently. And with that I wanted to try to make a AMV. Of course, this particular set of music is royalty free, or more so that YouTube allows us to use it and still allows this stream to be monetized. If you'd like someone added to the AMV, simply drop their name. If you have a particular cutscene in mind, if I have it, I will add it to the AMV. With that being said, the song we are using today is Cradles by Suburban. And let's get started, shall we? Now for something like this is clearly a guitar riff. And that brings to mind a couple of people. That brings to mind Xinyan from Genshin. But we don't really see enough of her to be doing that kind of riff. There are a couple of scenes where we might see Xinyan be like that, but we don't really. And so, instead, I think what we're gonna do is instead look at Serval from Honkai Star Rail. Now, my reasoning for Serval is just more that you see her doing a lot more fiddling with her guitar than you see Xinyan doing. So let's see what we have for that. As I pull it up on my side monitor and we search Serval. Serval, the cusp of ignition. If you are looking into getting into AMV creation, hopefully this might be a helpful guide. You can click unlink, that'll unlink the audio from the video. I think starting out here works best. So I'll turn the volume down for some of the people who may find this a bit loud. I think 35 should do it. Starting out here should give us a good kind of base point that we can use. And let's see how this looks. So we've got a bit of a nice template here, but we don't have a finished product. So what we're going to do is, let's see here. What we need to do is to keep it in time with the beat. We need this to end here. So we'll put on keyboard, it is Control K. And then we can swap over to where we think we can get a good natural transition point. It's a bit blurred here, so we can try here, and then we can mess with transitions if it doesn't look great. Keeping in line with that same idea, we need a different transition here. Thankfully we have this. That might need some fiddling with to be a good transition. And that looks pretty good right there. Now as we transition into the music, we have a good guitar riff here. And for our new viewer, I'll kind of demonstrate what this is currently looking like. Now, moving on from here, we have a fade to white that we can use to capitalize on a lot of different characters. A lot of characters, Genshin trailers, Star Rail trailers, utilize that fade to white. So we can use this as a natural transition point, which effectively means we don't need to worry about like a fade to white, a fade to black, or anything like that. We can use this naturally to do a cut. New viewer, if you have any interest in a character being added into here, feel free to add it to the chat, and we'll do my best to add them in, probably right about here. All right. Nothing in the chat yet, and so we'll do a natural transition from here, looking at the words specifically. I live inside my own world of make-believe. Now, there's a couple different ways we could do this. I live inside my own world of make-believe. Now, if we want to go the Genshin route, there is some joke answers, there are some real answers. A joke answer would be Kaveh, living in his own world. We have Wanderer, who kind of comes up with his own world, particularly when he is still Scaramouche. Looking at Star Rail, living in your own world. Let's see. Who would we consider? March 7th would be a good inclusion for kind of living in your own world. She's always kind of spaced out. Argenti, even to an extent. Let's see. And anyone from Penacony, except for, I would say, Firefly, though she's not technically coming from there. Let's see. Now, who do we think would best fit this lyric? I think someone from Penacony does make the most sense. And so that leaves us with what options? That leaves us with, we have Sparkle, who would be a good fit. We have Robin, but she's still pretty grounded, especially in the story. We have March 7th, but she's not really from Penacony. Sunday doesn't really live in his own world of make-believe, particularly toward the end. Misha just doesn't have enough content, so I think that Sparkle is going to be the most fitting just based off lyrics here. So I will go over here and pull up Sparkle from my folder. And that leaves us two options: her original trailer, Sparkle trailer monodrama, and also some of the scenes from her Myriad Celestia trailer. We'll go ahead and grab both of those and put them in here and see which one we like more. So let's start with the Myriad Celestia trailer, because I can think of a couple areas where we could kind of just move this in. Fill frame is very good if you're using a wider monitor, so it will kind of just auto fill in those areas. So this is the first option I see for a nice fade in. I live inside my own world of make-believe. That doesn't quite work the way we want it to. Now this looks like it could work. We get an additional little frame here. And I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kid. Again, not quite, though it is a good launching point. Seems we're getting a bit of audio feedback. Let's see if I can fix that. This may be a bit fast, but we can use it potentially as a stepping off point.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.
We've got a couple of nice basic transition points here.
I live inside my own world.
But it is a bit fast, so we'll go into speed duration. We'll try 80%, see how, if that really makes it slow down enough, or if it honestly makes it look unnatural, which is possible.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.
That seems to just make it really kind of juddery and kind of just freeze at certain points. So let's try it. I don't know why I went to 79.9. Let's try 90%.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.
Again, not quite what we're looking for. Let's see. Looking at this, which gives us a different perspective.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities.
An option could be seen there. Let's try this. Another option that we have.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.
Transitions don't line up, plus it's just not a very natural transition point. This is a nice fade to white that we might be able to use.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.
Now this looks like something we could use. Let's see. We're holding on to the white a little too long in the middle, so let's try and fade it in and let's see what happens here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids scream. World of make-believe.
That works out really nicely. She takes off the mask right then and there, right when it kind of says believe.
Believe.
Now next up, in terms of lyrics.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. So, while there's no babies in Honkai Star Rail, we do have some child characters to go through. The other issue is that a lot of the child characters, being 4 stars, do not really have trailers or any kind of real content to pull from. That's in an extended form, which does limit options somewhat. We have Bailu, who has a full trailer dedicated to herself. Lynx does not have one. Clara does not have a trailer. Let's see. Yun Li has a trailer. And then we have... That is actually, I believe, about it for child cares. We have Pitch Star Cook the Great. And yeah. Hua Hua. Now if we want to go off of screaming, that would leave... We have Bailu, who screams in the very opening second of her trailer. And then we have Hua Hua, who probably screams a lot more. But we can use both of them as options. So let's see. Starting off with Bailu. Put Bailu here. And then we have Hua Hua. Let's start with Hua Hua. Let's see what natural transition points that we have here. Where does this end?
Kids.
Alright, we may need to do a forced transition here, which is where there's not really going to be a great transition point between here and here. I'll kind of demonstrate to show.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach.
So it's not a horrible transition right there. Now let's mess around with some stuff that we could do to potentially increase it. So that would go to video transitions. One of my preferred uses is dip to white or dip to black. I don't think they're going to be the most interesting here. Let's take a look at the two options.
If kids scream.
That doesn't really give us that jarring that we kind of want here. And if we do kind of like make it less, not as long,
Kids.
that kind of just messes with the entire thing as a whole. So what other options do we have here? We have film dissolve. We could try film dissolve and maybe make it slightly not as long.
Kids.
And that just kind of inserts this unnecessary frame. We have a morph cut. What does the morph cut do for us? We'll keep it about the same size.
Kids.
And let's see what this looks like.
Kids.
That just looks ugly, so we're not going to go with that for this transition. Non-additive dissolve, additive dissolve. Let's try the immersive video. Random blocks, spherical. Let's try the spherical blur. I've used this once or twice.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach.
So of that, I'm not a huge fan. If you guys are, feel free to leave it in the comments. Hello, hello. We are doing a community-based AMV creation using Suburban's Cradles. If you'd like to add a character into the AMV, feel free to put their name in the comments, or if you have a particular cutscene in mind, if I have it, I will add it as best I can. And I will follow your kind of guidance on what particular part of that cutscene that you would like. This is what we currently are working with so far.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities.
Alright, so once again, not a huge fan of this particular transition. Let's try a zoom. For example, this Mobius zoom here. What does this look like?
Kids screaming.
Again, not super great there. Do we have any normal kind of zooms? Let's find out. Iris, page peel, slide. Could try a band slide. That doesn't look very good. A push, again, doesn't really work. We have whip. How about whip? Let's take a look at whip.
If kids.
Now, if we speed this up, it might work. Let's put it to about right there.
If kids.
No, because that just, it speeds up the, doesn't really do what we're hoping for there. We've got a normal zoom, so let's try the normal zoom. Cross zoom, even. And if we speed that up, that doesn't really work either. So perhaps the best is not to overcomplicate it and just keep it as it was originally. Let's take a look.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities.
Haven't tried an additive dissolvent yet, so let's see. Then we have a non-additive dissolve. The additive is adding in stuff from the previous frame, so let's see what happens. If we do this, this might work. Let's see what this looks like.
Kids screaming in the cradle. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach.
I think for now we're going to go with the traditional transition. We can always come back to it at the end. Now, going forward from here into the next set of lyrics.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach.
What we have here is a nice beat drop that is completely matched here by this falling animation right here.
I see.
As we hit that beat, there's that jump in the screen with Huoho falling to the ground. And I think that works as a natural transition point. And also we have where it says pink and I see in colors of pink and blue, which this is in fact in the pink and blue color scale. So it works for the lyrics. Hello, hello, new viewer. If there is a Genshin Star Rail character you'd like to add to this AMV, we're kind of doing it with the community. Just put their name in the chat if you have a particular cutscene in mind. We'll also, if I have it, I will put it in. Cutscene, character trailer moment, anything like that. This is what we are currently working with.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach.
Alright, so moving on to the next set of lyrics. I also recommend locking, if you're planning on not doing anything with the audio track, locking it does help. Otherwise, you saw there where I did the split, which is Control K, and it also cut the audio. So what is the next set of lyrics?
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.
So it looks like we have...
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.
The lyrics exactly are, cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. Now that gives a bit of a revenge theme. And so for kind of this revenge, kind of going around getting revenge and things like that, that brings to mind to me, particularly Blade. Other options for that... Fei Xiao could be considered to an extent, but not really. On top of that, Nobody else in Star Rail is particularly, at least of the playable characters, that vengeful. So I think for this particular version, we're going to go with Blade, if you have another suggestion. The other person I thought of was our Aventurine, but he's not really vengeful at any point in the... He's very calculating and cold, but he's not very vengeful. So I can think of the Blade trailer and then the Blade cutscene where he's walking. That both could work here. So let's see here. We'll bring both of those in. I have a feeling it didn't import. It did not. Moving those over here. All right. So with these, let's start with this. This could be a nice additive result if we use these footsteps, but I think it might be a bit slow. This could potentially work. What happens if we just do a default transition? We've got his face coming in. Let's see how that looks.
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything.
Again, it's a bit slow and it doesn't really match the pace, even with the speed up. So I think let's try here. There's a lot of fighting in his trailer, I remember. Nice natural transition, or not natural, but a very default transition that we're able to work with there.
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
So for here, this kind of works.
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything.
But the problem that we run into is that it kind of goes a bit long. And with that in mind, what other options do we have presentable to us? We could try slowing it down, maybe going to about 90, I think would be a good place to try to use as a bit of a template. Let's see.
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.
What we can utilize here is a fade to black to go into our next one, which is...
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
So, I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Looking at characters, fire immediately brings to mind the fire characters in this game, and they would require a particular... Gwynaifin, it doesn't really fit. Topaz doesn't really fit. Gallagher, not really. Firefly would work. In terms of trauma, we have Fugue, who doesn't really remember her trauma so much. We have Firefly, who constantly lives with it, and she does have a lot of scenes where you have that fire around her. Another option is Aventurine, though not fire. There is that scene where he is, as a child, reaching out and the flames envelop his village. But to keep on with the lyrics itself and the general theme, I think we'll try Firefly. Embers in the shell. And if we fill that up, this would be a nice natural transition point since we're already going to that fade to black. Let's see what it looks like.
Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Not quite what we're looking for. It also doesn't really go with the I love everything idea. If we force utilize a dip to black here, this could work. Rid of dissolve, dip to black. Let's see what this looks like.
I love everything.
Threw it too quick. The other option that includes Firefly would be White Knight. So if we forsake that option entirely, perhaps even a dip to white. Hello, hello, new viewer. We are working on an AMV, Honkai Star Rail, some Genshin, depending on what people would enjoy putting in. If you have a character you'd like to see, feel free to put them in the chat, and they'll be added into the AMV itself. This is my first real attempt at a kind of collaborative experience with the viewers. So it's not only just, it's putting my, I'm not going to say expertise, I've done this for a few years at this point, but there's definitely always room to improve as an AMV creator, but also going direct to the audience and saying, hey, look at what would you like to have into this AMV? And adding it in from there.
I love everything.
That doesn't work quite as well. What about a dip to black?
I love everything.
No, because there's a really unlucky add-in right there. So let's fix that so that doesn't happen. If we do it at the tail end, how about that?
I love everything.
No, because that doesn't work either. We'll keep White Knight in mind as that particular kind of flashbang there of different images could be good for the chorus. Or not chorus, but that music body there. I think we're going to try Aventurine. If there's that scene I'm remembering correctly, I believe it's either Myriad or Moment Amidst the Stars. let's see, is it Spark? No, it's not Sparkling Tricks. I believe it's Inherently Unjust Destiny. Yes, it is Inherently Unjust Destiny. All right, so looking at that, fit to frame. A natural transition.
I love.
Not quite.
I love everything.
Too much going on in the background there. What's it just look like without any transition?
I love that.
Definitely can't do it without some form of transition to make it feel more natural. Dip to black option.
I love everything.
That can work for the moment. Good for fire spreading around my room. This can use a natural transition since it's going to be using... Yep.
Fire spreading all around my room.
Let's see if we can extend this. Let's look at a 90%. Let's see what happens here.
Fire spreading all around my room.
Then we take it back to 100% and then move on to the next frame.
Everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright. It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. You weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright. It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. That's alright. Hush.
Not quite at the very end. It works up until the end.
Hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Now where this chorus pops in is where I mentioned earlier that White Knight might be a good place to add. In fact,
That's alright. Hush.
now if we crop a little bit off right about here, and we replace this,
It's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open.
and so now we have this area here where this syncs up almost perfectly. And in fact, many areas, as you can see from this,
Hush.
this is a method I like to use. It's just, it doesn't overcomplicate. When you have these kind of quick beat drops, you don't need to go into 15 different audio clips and make these transitions yourself. Sometimes the cutscenes themselves provide you those things. Now, you might need to make some minor edits to that cutscene. For example, I could speed this up here. I could slow it down. I could Control K, make a couple cuts here, and kind of splice things together as I wish. Change it around and whatnot. But right here, this looks like it fits fluidly with this beat, these multitude of beat drops. And so that's where we're going to keep that. Now, once again, if there's any characters that any of you would like to add to this, by all means, put them in the chat, put them in the comments if you'd like to see them in a future video, and I'll do my best to add them.
Hush.
Now I believe with that fade to white, I can get a little bit more of a transition out of that, and let's see what this new set of lyrics says.
Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't
For this, it's tape my eyes open to force reality. So another person, in a sense, who was living in a dream, but has now been awoken to the real world. The following lyric, why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? Someone who wants to be happy. Now, in terms of tape my eyes open to force reality, for me, if you want someone who is living in their own dream and tried to live in their own world, something that immediately comes to mind is Sunday. Sunday, a character who wanted to live in this dream world, wanted to create this dream world and force others to live in it, live in their own form of glee, to a sense. And in fact, these entire first three lines, take my eyes open to force reality, why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee, I live inside my own world of make-believe, all would refer to Sunday. And so I will use Sunday as a kind of template option here. Sunday having his own trailer, Soloist. And in terms of options, we can quickly fit to frame. Quickly get rid of this darn pop-up. There we go. Starting with a just natural, no added transition. Let's see what this looks like.
take my eyes open to force reality? Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me.
Now we've got some great beat drops, and right at that very end, when it simply states,
Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me.
I can't tell if my body belongs to me, not referring to Sunday's physical body, but instead his true quote-unquote form, as the Grand Symphony. His original eyes closed dream idea. And this is him facing that, embracing who he was and moving on. Moving on to the next set of lyrics, I believe that is another instance of the chorus. Let's see.
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
We already had a template idea for this that we ended up moving on from, so we will return to that. Now that we have a new transition point, we shall return to Firefly.
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Now, a good start, but I think we start to lose it right around.
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe.
This takes too long. So what we can do to keep things fluid, but still allow for some added interest. Let's see what it looks like with just a normal transition here.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright.
And then if we have like an eyes opening moment, we do.
To breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Not quite what we're looking for.
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Now let's see if there's another eyes opening moment. I believe there is at least one additional one in this trailer.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Do a bit of cropping so it fits more with that transition and beat drop.
That's alright. Hush.
Now, cutting off my own thing there. There we go.
I wanna taste your content, hold your breath.
Going off of a more literal note, I want to taste your content. In terms of content, we can think of Gwenithan. In terms of taste, what immediately comes to mind for me is Yunli. So I'm going to go to Yunli. Yunli has a particular cut scene in her trailer. I will pull it up, where she's being taunted by Jing Yuan. And at the very end of her trailer, if we include here, that gets rid of that overlap.
I wanna taste your content.
Next up, hold your breath and feel the tension in terms of holding your breath. Who do we know would fit holding your breath? Nobody specifically would fit that particular idea. But I think something we could use comes from one of the original trailers for the game. The space comedy trailer, perhaps? No, not quite the space comedy trailer. There's another one. The second closed beta trailer, I believe, has something we can use here. We don't need this, we don't need this. Why does it keep adding the Yun Li trailer? There we go. Alright, second closed beta trailer. And this could provide a natural series of transitions if it's the one that I think it is.
I wanna taste your content. Hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is the one.
Let's try this.
I wanna taste your content. Hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption. Breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick burns out.
Some good transitions there, if I remember correctly.
Burns out. Just wanna be carefree lately, yeah. Just kicking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Counting like the four-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied laces, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
Some edits we can be made to the tail end of that. For example,
Four-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied laces, yeah.
too long of a fade to black can lose viewer interest, so what instead we're going to do is speed this up just a bit. Right about here. What I believe we can also do is do a nice natural transition point here.
Yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
Not quite either. A bit too fast if I do that. So let's try speed duration, maybe put it down to 95%.
Yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
I think that looks pretty good. So, and it ends right when the song ends. So then what we can do is unlock, do this, and this is the finalized product.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. I wanna taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption, breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick burns out. Just wanna be carefree lately, yeah. Just kicking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Count 'em like the four-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied laces, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
So a couple things that I do want to go back to that I don't think worked out as well as I was hoping in the original transitions was this hush seems like it doesn't really fit here. Doesn't the Aventurine's lips don't really fit here? So what we are going to do is replace this with something that fits a bit more. It was here for a bit early. The original bit of Sunday from Inherently Unjust Destiny. Fit frame. Let's see how this looks.
Alright, hush.
That definitely works a lot better. I think here a dip to white is going to make this transition much nicer. Like so.
Take my eyes open.
Definitely a lot less forced.
I love that.
I feel like at the tail end here, these transitions don't quite match the beat, which can be fixed. Let's see here.
Tripping on day, dreams got. Just tripping on day, dreams.
So in order to fit, we need this transition to happen here, where it first starts to say dreams. So with that, if we Control K, once again, I'm making sure that this is locked. And then we move this down to here. What we can do then, not extend it per se, that won't help. But we can slow it down to, let's try 85%. Doesn't quite do it, which means 80 should. Let's find out. We go to 80. Again, not quite. Let's see what it looks like if we do that couple seconds.
Just tripping on day, dreams got dirty little.
That does seem to work fine. So then similarly here, we need this transition to happen here, so we can crop this.
Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
And then we have one last thing. Now that the Silver Wolf kind of popping her bubble animation doesn't quite match up, so we go to the first frame of her appearing, Control K that, and let's see if we can get it slowed down just enough. Let's go maybe 85. 85 wasn't quite enough, Let's do 80. And that kind of coincides, so let's see what it looks like. Just make sure it looks natural enough.
Around the nursery and count sheep.
And that works. So this has been kind of a guide, along with some community help, to kind of make your own Honkai Star Rail AMV. Obviously Genshin could have been included. We ended up just kind of going fully Star Rail here. I hope you found this helpful. This is kind of just some stuff I've picked up after multiple years of editing and doing daily videos for at least 1.5 to 2 years at this point, mostly AMVs. If there's any AMVs you'd like to see in the future, feel free to put them, either the songs or characters you'd like to see it, in the description or in the comments. And until next time, everybody, this is Blaze from Blazing Flame Studio.